I feel that Grand Ivory Record got Smart a gig, but they did not think that Topform was going to blow up the way it did. Yeah, they might have thought it was going to do well, but they did not really think that people were really going to fall for Smart, because again, this is the first leading role that Smart and Boom are getting. So normally in that kind of situation, you cannot be too optimistic because these are two unknown faces. You're not really sure how well fans are going to receive them, right? So they entered this contract. So when they got into this contract, the show aired and it was a massive success. And they started to realize that Smart was actually very valuable. Sometime in 2025, seemingly from nowhere, the trailer for a BL dropped. The two leading actors were not familiar faces. When it comes to new CP in the BL world, fans are usually skeptic, but when the trailer dropped, it looked good. The premise was promised. It looked like an age gap yaoi, and the girlies are into that. I'm into that. Everybody was into it. The promotions were top notch. Everybody started to fall in love with the couple before we even saw them on screen. And then Topform aired, and people loved them more. It was crazy. The reception was crazy. The numbers do not lie. Topform was among one of the best received BLs of 2025. And people especially love the CP. The BL Topform is a success. There are even rumors of season 2. They even do this little interview show where the actors give us a behind the scenes of how they felt during the scene. That was when the famous honey scene aired. If you know, you know. I never looked at Honey the same way again. So yes, this CP, they were very, very successful. Only that now, one of the actors in that CP is being sued by WeTV because they did not abide by the contract. And this has really been a big deal in the BL world. And we're going to talk about it because I've had thoughts about this. The whole issue with the CP started since last year. This was when this whole drama started. So we're first going to introduce our CPs, Smart and Boom. Smart and Boom have been in the BL industry for a while. I think Smart played a side character in Don't Say No, which is one of the OG iconic BLs. If you were there, you were there. We have really come so far as BL fans. Remember when what we had was Stand Time? And we had to watch it and be happy with it. We have really come so far. Smart did play a side couple in Do Not Say No. Boom has also taken some side projects. I think he played a side character in this movie. In this BL. He played a side character in this BL. I don't remember. I'm going to put it here. Please don't jump me. I've had a bad experience with especially Boom fans, which I think I did contribute to why I was dragged, even though I still say what I said. But yeah, don't drag me. This video isn't really about Boom. It's about Smart, because Smart is the person being sued by WeTV. So WeTV is suing Grand Ivory Records, which is Smart's management and Smart himself. And again, this has been a big topic since last year. There are so many people who predicted that this would happen. So I'm mostly going to talk about the lawsuit between Smart and WeTV and Grand Ivory Records and what I think about the whole issue. But in case you're new here and you don't know what BLs are and you don't know what a ship is, you don't understand why CPs are so serious, you don't understand why fans are talking about it, let me introduce you. So if you do not know what BLs are, BL is short for boys love and is a genre of television that focuses on queer relationships, especially between two men. We are still at the point where we are dealing with two cis men, but we hope for more inclusivity in the industry. Amen. BLs are usually Asian entertainment. The mass of the BLs we get are Asian entertainment, and as I said, they focus on romantic relationships between two men. And the thing that puts BL aside from most queer media is that you sort of live in this imaginary world where the characters are separate from the issues that queer people face. BLs are hardly centered around the difficulties of being queer, and they mostly focus on just a normal development of relationship between two men, as if they were heterosexual. Even when they bring in queer issues, it plays at the background, is never really serious. But even when queer problems arise, there is usually a happy ending, more or less. And the two people usually end up being together, so it's happily ever after. They usually get friends who are supportive, parents who are supportive. It varies, but usually it's a feel-good genre of queer movies. BL started to make their rounds in 2018, and over the years they have only gotten more popular. It's niche media. A lot of people do not know about BLs. I know that I've been on social media for a while, and it took me getting into K-pop before I started to hear about BLs. The demographic for BL, most people will say that is heterosexual women, And there are so many reasons as to why heterosexual women are the ones who enjoy BL. And I will say I don't give a flying flip why they enjoy BLs, because I believe I could not care less. Congratulations to all involved. As long as there is no fetishization, which I don't believe that straight women are. I don't believe that straight. I wanted to say that I don't believe that straight women fetishize BL actors or gay men, but that's a I couldn't even get through it without laughing. Whatever, like, good for them. But as a person who is queer, I watch BLs and GLs because I exist in a homophobic country. They be fucking killing us here for being gay, and I just need an escape. I need to go into a world where people like me, we can exist without headache, and it just gives me hope. Because shout outs to BLs and K-pop and gay in general. That is the world of BL. BLs are huge. It's niche, but within the niche community is huge. And because of that, a lot of actors who act in BLs, it is their chance to establish themselves. It's not abnormal for actors to start out with BLs and then they go on to mainstream media. Thailand is one of the countries, if not the country, with the biggest BL production. Thailand is a country that's always been liberal to queer people. Korea, China recently, Taiwan, Singapore, the Philippines, like this Asian continent, have all contributed to the blooming market of BL. And because of that, the fandom that BLs amass is very huge. So the BL system and industry is huge overall. They have fans everywhere in the world. How it usually works, especially in Thailand, which has the biggest BL market, is that when two actors play in a BL role, if they are successful enough and they have enough chemistry, they are often going to collaborate in more shows, in more BLs together. And when they collaborate in more BLs together, they start to be some sort of a couple, and we call that a ship. These couples, the two men, they don't just act, they also do these things called fan meet and greets, where they meet their fans, interact with their fans. And there's also something that we call fan service, which is when they carry their chemistry from the show, and it's weird explaining this thing. When they act together in a show, they have this chemistry and this intensity, and fans like to see that replicated. I'm not going to say in real life, but when the actors are interacting together, maybe in fan signs, meeting their fans, we like to see that these people who showed so much chemistry and intimacy in the show, that they still show that intimacy. But for those of us who are fans, who are normal, and our brains are working, and we understand how things work, we understand that fan service doesn't necessarily mean that these actors are dating or that they love each other. At best is that they have a good working relationship, right? Because at the end of the day, this is their job, they're here to earn money. And when you're working with somebody and you people have done like 2-3 shows together, and you people are successful, or you people have done one really, really successful show, it makes sense that you people are going to, I'm not even going to say develop some sort of intimacy, but sort of a codependent relationship, because after all, your fates are sealed. You get, like, both of you need each other to succeed. For them to be successful in acting, that means that there should be a level of friendliness. And I'm not saying that some of them are not in love, some of them are not dating. But very personally, I'm going to say that I don't really think it's a good idea to date your co-star, simply because when emotions come in, things can be very messy. Like, imagine if you're dating your co-star and then one of them cheats and you guys have to go to work together the next day. Oh my god, like, it just doesn't work. I'm trying to say that fan service is more or less a fantasy. It's a fantasy that both the actors and the fans play into. And all things being equal, it's fun and it's a win-win situation for everybody. It's a win-win for the fans because we get to cheese and giggle and watch the two actors that we love and admire do cute things off scene, and we enjoy it. It's just jokey. For the actor, it's very good for them because it's good for business. It shows that they and their partner, they have like really good chemistry, and it opens the door for more opportunities like fan meets, for more shows. And for the company, it's good for them. It makes them money. So I'm trying to say that chips are very important, especially in the BL world. I don't know how it happens for like heterosexual pairings because I don't really watch a lot of heterosexual shows. But I think in China, heterosexual ships are a thing. There are people their faves act together, man and a woman, and there is ship, which, please, if you hear any noise in the background, please ignore it. You people on YouTube are very strict. Like, somebody just commented on my last video, I stopped watching your video at 6 minutes because like the background noise was overwhelming. I was just like, oh my god, you people are actually strict here. You guys are strict. I'm going to do my best to denoise the background, but just like bear with me. I wish I recorded this video yesterday, but whatever. So yeah, I'm just trying to say that in the BL world, like, ships are very strict. People don't play, both the company, both the fans, nobody plays about the ships. To the point that some of us who are normal are starting to think that it's a bit too rigid. Like, we're trying to say, oh, like, calm down. Just because a ship is together, that doesn't mean they have to be together forever. They can do other things with their lives. Like, let's all chill. But again, this ship thing, very intense for both the company, for both the fans, and sometimes even for the actors, to be very honest. Smart and Boom, they were successful, and because they were successful, they became a ship almost immediately, and the fans wanted more of them. As I said earlier, we thought that we were about to get Topform season 2 because, again, it was that successful. The storyline was very good. Now, for Topform itself, I'm going to say that me personally, I was not really impressed with the show itself. The reason I stayed was because of Boom's acting and the chemistry between Smart and Boom. That's why people loved them. Their chemistry was off the charts. Like, they really did well when it came to the chemistry aspect. But for the show itself, I was not impressed. The storyline was weird. Like, the storyline was done in such a way that you didn't know how to feel. For example, there is a scene, and there are going to be spoilers. There is a scene in the movie where Boom's character, he doesn't know if he has been sexually assaulted, and I think I should give a trigger warning. He didn't know if he ended up sleeping with one random guy like that. And we see that it's a very painful experience for him. He's very confused. He thinks that he cheated on Smart's character. It was overall a very intense and emotional scene. That's how it was. So one episode, the poor character is confused. The poor character is trying to make sense of what just happened. If he cheated, he doesn't know because he was drunk or he was. And then next episode is resolved. They just turn it into this jokey. I think that the character that was supposed to be the second CP, even though we don't really see them. And I don't like it. Like, the tone was too sudden. Give us maybe one extra episode to cool off before you try to write it up. There were also editing issues. There were some scene transitions that just did not make any sense to me. It's very obvious that there was a lot of cutting and joining, and they were not really doing a seamless job with it. And the ending was just very lackluster. I feel that I'm just complaining about the show. It was really good when it came to chemistry, especially Boom's acting. Boom's acting was actually good. It just shows that he's really experienced and he's really talented. And I do hope, regardless of this mess, he does get a lot of opportunities because he does deserve it. That's how the show went. It was successful. People loved it. People were expecting more seasons from them. Then WeTV released this statement talking about Smart, who is one of the CPs, not adhering to the contractual agreement. And at first, people were very confused because it came out of nowhere. Like, literally, I think that the CP, they had a fan meet and greet. Everything seemed to be going well. They were doing their fan service videos. Fans were eating it up. They were loving it. It came out of nowhere. According to WeTV, Smart and Grand Ivory Records, they were accepting deals outside the contract and just not fulfilling their contractual obligations. I don't want to get too deep into that. When that dropped, when WeTV released the statement, Smart went on live. One of the CP, Smart, went on live, and he basically said that the CP was not coming to an end, that they're going to be together, that the fans should not panic. And honestly, some fans were not having it. This CP thing gets really intense for a lot of them. A lot of them were not having it. They were just like, we need an explanation. We need to understand what is happening. Grand Ivory Record comes out and they say that they are not terminating any agreement, or that the CP is going to be together as long as WeTV cooperates. And this is where they start to say that WeTV had some unethical labor practices according to GIR. They were overworking Smart. Sometimes Smart will fall ill or he will get sick. And WeTV will not care. They would still expect him to go through his schedule, not minding that he was sick. And that's not good treatment according to GIR, Grand Ivory Records. That's what they were saying that WeTV did. There was a lot of back and forth between the fans, between the companies, and ultimately the CP dissolved, even though that I don't even remember if there was an official statement, but 2025 for fans, for people that are watching, we just made peace with the fact that the CP separated. Boom, I don't know much about him because he hasn't really been vocal in everything that's been happening. He has just kind of been in his lane. But for Smart, his company has been pushing him as an artist. And then this year, I think it was last week, WeTV came out to say that they were officially suing Smart and GIR for not complying with the contract. And that was what stirred up this drama that has been happening since last year, died down a bit, and then it has started again. This is my thoughts on the whole thing. Right from when Smart and Boom started and I saw their age difference, I knew that there was going to be this sort of issue. But what I hoped for was that there will be a more amicable agreement. Right from time, Grand Ivory Records has been trying to push Smart as an artist. Even when Topform was airing, he was releasing dance videos on YouTube and TikTok. I think a lot of fans did not clock it, but that was them marketing him as an artist. But back when I thought that Grand Ivory Record was a responsible company, I thought that they would wait until Smart did maybe 2-3 movies with Boom, solidified himself in the industry, and then with Boom's support, at least to the fans, Smart would go to pursue his music career while still maybe doing like a few cameos with Boom. Boom would have established himself to get roles, not necessarily BL roles. It doesn't have to be romance where Smart can do a cameo because people love it. A lot of BL actors don't act only BL. Some of them do venture out. The thing that makes BL fans to still support them is if you can still see the support of their other CP in their solo project. Fans love that. So I feel that that's the direction that Grand Ivory Record could have gone if they really wanted Smart to be safe and for his best interest. Wait for him a bit to do maybe 2-3 shows or even like maybe even 4 shows, who knows, as many as you can pump out, and then when he's a bit more stable as a well-known face, then you can then market his singing. And during that time, you can still train him as a singer and a musician because Smart is not a bad singer, he's not a bad dancer. He's actually a better dancer than he's a singer. But the thing about it is that even his dancing still requires work, it still requires a lot of polishing, so does his singing. I felt that Grand Ivory Record will use the profits that their star got from his hit BL and the other BLs, because the other BLs that they would have done was going to be a certified hit. Like they had the chemistry, Boom's acting was good, Smart's acting can only improve, right? So it's a guarantee that they would have done really, really well. They would have been one of the most famous CP, even if they never acted on that BL, even if they just remained in good terms, even if Topform was their only BL and this whole controversy never happened, they would have still been one of the top and most loved CPs. To show you how badly Grand Ivory messed up and fucked up everything. I've always seen these conflicts between Smart's acting and his music coming, but I just thought that it would not come so soon, and even if it came early, it will be better managed. So I wasn't really surprised when they said that when WeTV came out to say that, oh, these people were not abiding by the agreement. I wasn't really surprised. If you follow the story, you've known that the handling has been very bad and Smart has been at the receiving end. And this is not me saying that Boom is not a victim. I am so scared of that man's fans, please. Please, I am not talking about him. But Smart has really been at the receiving end. He has been collecting a lot of heat. And I feel that Grand Ivory has done a very, very poor job at protecting this. They are constantly putting him in a position where he has to defend himself. And it's just obvious that the boy isn't experienced. And I know it sounds as if I'm giving him an excuse, but I have a soft spot and a lot of sympathy for him because he's around the same age as me. And when this thing started, he was 23. And I know 23 is an adult. You should be able to take responsibility, blah. But here from a 23-year-old myself, yes, I'm an adult. I have adult responsibilities. But I'm literally just a dem. I am just a tiny little non-binary. When it just comes to managing certain things, managing certain conflicts, knowing that some people might not have the best interest at heart for you, knowing how to navigate this very difficult situation, it makes sense to think that he might not be that experienced. And not to say he has zero experience, because I said both Smart and Boom, they have been in the industry. Being in the industry as a side character who just comes to the sets like once or twice to shoot your scene and you don't really have a lot to do. It's very different from being a lead character. The stakes are very different, right? Maybe the company might not be concerned with you as a side character, but they are definitely concerned with you as a lead character, especially a lead character that has made them a lot of money. I feel that he's a bit naive and he's handling this thing in a way that suggests that he really doesn't understand what is at stake. I think yesterday or day before yesterday, GIR held a press conference, and just like many people, I think that this press conference is a bad idea. One thing a lot of fans don't seem to understand, and this is because of the parasocial relationships that they usually have with these actors, is that a lot of these PR statements are PR statements. Like sometimes the actors don't even know these PR statements are being released, and not everything that your faith tells you is true. Sometimes they're just telling you what you're going to digest the best, because as I said, this whole ship thing is very intense. The fans can be very, very volatile. So of course it makes sense that an act in very tense situations might say something just to calm you down. In the press conference, Smart said that he knew that the CP was going to separate. He had already made the decision, something along those lines. And then the fans are starting to say, but you went on live and he told us not to worry. That you guys were not celebrating, so which is rich. If you think about it, you know that at that point he had to say what to calm people down. And even though I don't have proof, I'm very sure that he did that live on the instructions of Grand Ivory Record. If you ask me, I'm going to say that live they told him to do it because he saw that public opinion was not on his side. The press conference is leaving a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, because it's just a case of which is which. Far it be from me to defend the company. I know that these companies are very cannibalistic, they are very profit oriented, and WeTV is not an exception. Of course, they saw a couple that was making them money, so of course they are going to lean into it and they are going to demand more. Grand Ivory Record, as I said, they were also pushing Smart as an artist. That means you were also putting him through training, and he had a schedule for him to train to be an artist. And most likely they were doing that while he was filming Topform, because a lot of the content that they were releasing it at the same time as Topform. So of course the boy is going to be stressed because you're pulling him in two directions. He's just one person. So standing there to point a finger at WeTV, and I'm not saying that WeTV might not have stressed him out, but again, there was a contract, right? You read the contract, you were okay with the contract. If they were stressing him outside the stipulated contracts, then it's your time to sue them. If truly that they were pushing your artist outside the contractual obligations, then sue them for it, give them a countersuit. But they are not doing it because I highly suspect, and this is my opinion, please, I highly suspect that they were the ones adding to the workload that the boy already had. This is my theory about what is happening with Grand Ivory Record, WeTV, and Smart, right? I feel that Grand Ivory Record got Smart a gig, but they did not think that Topform was going to blow up the way it did. Yeah, they might have thought it was going to do well, but they did not really think that people were really going to fall for Smart, because again, this is the first leading role that Smart and Boom are getting. So normally in that kind of situation, you cannot be too optimistic because these are two unknown faces. You're not really sure how well fans are going to receive them, right? So they entered this contract. So when they got into this contract, the show aired and it was a massive success. And they started to realize that Smart was actually very valuable, right? Very, very, very valuable. Maybe, and this is a theory, please, nobody should arrest me, please. I'm just I'm just a girl in my room just making videos, please. I'm assuming that whatever deal that Grand Ivory made with WeTV, they made it on the basis of them accepting a lot of things because they are a small company. I think that Smart is the biggest artist in that company. Maybe they entered into a very humble and conservative agreement, right, with WeTV. Then Smart blows up and they find out that, oh, they actually maybe shot themselves in the foot. Instead of them to maybe be patient, wait for maybe the second season and then maybe push for more demands from WeTV, they decided to make more money for themselves by pushing Smart as an artist. Then they don't need to cut profits with WeTV. It's just going to be them and Smart that are going to make money if they push Smart as an artist. So they wanted to make use of his fame from Topform to push him as an artist. Their biggest mistake was thinking that just because Smart had one hit BL and people loved him, they thought that love was enough to sustain sustain him regardless of what they did. Because you cannot tell me that they did not think that WeTV was going to sue them. Maybe they did think that they would have gotten away with it, but apparently from what we're seeing, WeTV does not play like they're actually very strict with their rules. WeTV has been standing on business since this thing started. Smart and Boom have not really been in the business long enough for them to have solid fandoms for themselves. There are some people who have done BL for a very long time, or they have been backed up by very big companies that even after they separate, they still had fans that loved them, and they had a company that was able to manage them and market them into amassing a fan base individually. Grand Ivory Record, not such a big company, and obviously they are not giving a lot of protection. And another miscalculation on their part is that they don't understand how little tolerance BL fans have for artists who abandon their acting to do music. In the BL industry, it happens a lot. And unless you have actual talent, very good talent for singing and dance, they're going to turn on you. It happened to my very good friend, James. I feel bad because I was one of the people that laughed at him. James, nobody loves you more than me. I love you so much, but baby boy. Baby boy! But I'm happy for him. He's in Dex now, and I think he's back to acting. Our fans were not very forgiving of him because people felt that he ruined his career. Most fans can overlook acting because most of them, they're just there for the skinship, for the chemistry, for the CP. If there's enough chemistry and the storyline is interesting enough and there's enough spicy scene, people will forgive you, right? But for the music, there is nothing to create a smoke screen. It's just them listening to your voice, and if it's not good enough, they're going to be high. And I think that that's what happened to Smart. No matter how much BL fans like you, it's very rare that they are going to like you as a singer. We love our actors as actors. For those who want to be singers, you have to actually sing. Like Nunu. Nunu is a very good singer. You can get away with mediocre acting. You cannot get away with mediocre singing. People actually like talented singers. So, of course, from the statistics, we can see that Smart's singing career has not really been the hit that Grand Ivory Records thought is going to be. And I feel that that was their miscalculation. Personally, I really feel sorry for Smart. I hope that he doesn't get sued. I don't feel he deserves it. It must be a very scary, draining experience. Like, imagine that a lot of people in the world are just mad at you over things you cannot really control, because at the end of the day, I feel that, again, Smart, I'm not going to say he's being manipulated, but I'm going to say that there are a lot of things that are beyond his control. He's not receiving a lot of protection. He's not receiving a lot of backing. And when the whole ruckus was going on last year, I think that there were people that were accusing his manager or one of the people working for him in that kind of agency stuff was having like very close personal relationship with him. Now, I don't really support bullying people who you are not sure if they are involved in what is happening or how they are involved in. But if I'm going to follow that theory and guess that he has some type of personal relationship with these people, then that just makes it all the worse, because as I said earlier, I don't believe in mixing business with pleasure, because you never know how people can act on the basis of their personal feelings. That's why people will say that sometimes an enemy is much trustworthy than a friend. If truly Smart had some personal relationships, and not romantic relationships, I'm not saying that. If there is an element of personal relationship with these people, it just makes it all the much worse, because that should not be happening. I hope he doesn't get sued. I hope that this blows over. According to him, he has some projects, movie projects. I look forward to seeing him on my screen. I also look forward to his music. I hope he continues to grow as an artist. And for the fans, when it comes to this drama between Grand Ivory, WeTV, and Smart, I feel that as fans, it's best for you to stay out of it. What you don't know, you don't know, honestly. If you're not in the rooms where these decisions are made, then you don't know the intricacies of what is happening, because you could be protesting thinking you're protecting, or you're actually making things more difficult for him. I feel that the best thing we can do now is just to stay to this side and watch as things happen. If there is any situation where Smart is in danger and Smart needs help, that's where we do step in as fans, because we do care about this boy. We do love him in a non-creepy, safe and healthy parasocial way. But for now, we just need to sit back and watch as it's happening. And a lot of people are saying that his career is flopped. I don't think his career is flopped. I do think he might need to leave Grand Ivory please leave that company. I'm so fucking for real. And he might need to lay low for a while. But he's still young. He has all the time in the world. I think he's going to come back stronger and healthier. Whether as an actor, whether as an artist, or even if he chooses to just live his life, I hope he is okay at the end of the day. If you watched up to this point, thank you. Thank you. Please do subscribe. It was nice talking to you guys. And I'll see you in another video.